Our first speaker is a longtime Toastmaster who loves what we create here in Toastmasters. He was the 48th speaker in our Toastmaster history to earn our coveted professional level accredited speaking designation. He is past district director and region 4 advisor. His passion has allowed him to travel 60 countries thus far. But he says this year he can be delayed a long time. His speech is titled, "Why Am I Still Here?" Please help me welcome distinguished Toastmaster and accredited speaker, Bob Hooey.
Hi, everyone. Actually, that's a good question. Why am I still here? Have you ever asked yourself that? Have you ever asked yourself, like, why am I here? And like, where am I? And where's my lunch bucket? You know, occasionally I did that. And I did a lot of that when I was doing my visits as region advisor, because I was here and there and everywhere. And, you know, it's kind of like, okay, Bob, you're here today, and then you're here this afternoon, you're here tomorrow. And, you know, after a while, I didn't know where I was. I didn't know which district I was in, but I was still having fun. But I thought about the fact that I have been in Toastmasters now almost 30 years. In March next year, it'll be 30 years, and I'm still here. And I thought about sharing with you why, because I think both it's instructive for me to remember why I'm still here, but hopefully because we're doing this as an open house and we're having a few people join that aren't yet Toastmasters. That's which is what I used to say when we were, people say, you know, the thing, your guests that haven't joined us yet, and to give them that option. But I have 3 reasons why I'm still in Toastmasters, and I'd like to share those with you. The first one, and maybe the most important one, is the people. I came to Toastmasters at the end of a rough period in my life, when I was starting to put things back together. I was starting to rebuild. I was refocusing. I decided where I wanted to go. I actually, in that time of rediscovery who I was and where I wanted to go, came up with an idea of say, hey, I want to be a professional speaker. And somebody suggested to me that I join Toastmasters and work on my skills just a little. Actually, it was the immediate past international president who had heard me speak and knew I needed a lot of help. And he said it very gently. He said, Bob, have you ever heard of Toastmasters? And I went, no, I've never heard of it, other than I thought it was something where they sold toasters and stuff. And I went to visit Toastmasters of today, the end of March in 1991. It was a rainy evening. And, you know, I parked in the parking lot and I walked over to where there was an outside entrance down to the bottom of this church. And I literally went down and back and had a little conversation with myself in the parking lot and said, look, something like this, Hooey, you drove all the way over here from Westminster to Vancouver, at least go in the door and see what this Toastmaster thing is about. And I opened the door to Toastmasters of today and began my family connection with Toastmasters. I met a group of people that were very much like the ones on this call that were very loving and kind and gentle. They even lied to me to keep me in the club. You know, they said, oh, you're a good speaker. You know, actually, we need to build a club because we're afraid you're not going to join. But, you know, but they welcomed me and they challenged me and they listened to me talking about what I wanted to do and why I was there. And they encouraged me in that. And they got me out of my, and people that know me don't believe that I was actually shy at a time period in my life. And I was very much at that point. It was as much shyness and being uncertain about what I wanted to do, but they brought me out of that because they were very gentle and supportive. And over the years, I have made a lot of friends within Toastmasters around the world, which is one of the reasons why when I'm traveling for work or even for pleasure, if I have a chance to do something for a local district, I'll let them know in advance that I'm going to be there and I'll do something for them. For example, my wife and I did a 17-day tour to China a few years ago. And I got in touch with the folks with District 88 and said, I'm going to be in town. I have one free night. Here's the 2 nights. I'm not sure which. And they organized something. I did an event in the afternoon, another one in the evening. And we just had an amazing time, which is one of the places where I got this. But And they showed up in Vancouver to come and see me to remind me that they appreciated the fact that I came for a visit. So the people are one of the major reasons why I'm still involved in Toastmasters, because of the people investing in my life. When I was working on the accredited speaker, I had people that invested in me personally to help me, to challenge me, to encourage me and kick my butt. I had one of my friends who we used to get together once a month and practice our speeches. And she said to me, Judy said, Bob, you know, that was a great speech. You know what would make it better? And I went, okay, ready to write down. She said, if you move the beginning closer to the end, which was a nice way of saying what you did in the middle sucked, but you still got hope because you could get there. And that I kept going. I kept going. So the second reason why I'm still in Toastmasters is I'm paying it forward. I've had so many people that have invested in my life, in my career, in my leadership. When I was going through the district leadership from the club area and division and the district chairs, there were so many people that said yes when I asked for help that it's almost impossible not to give it back, which was one of the reasons why I stepped up a few years ago to be a region advisor. Because somebody had challenged me. It was somebody saying, Dan Rex said, have you ever thought about being a region advisor? And I went, what is it? I didn't know. I'd never heard of it. So I checked into it and I thought, okay, I do a little training and speaking. I could probably help. And I've been out of Toastmaster leadership for like a lot of years, but if you can look past that, I can probably help you. And so I started giving back, but I do that within our speaking industry. You know, I'm helping PSA Spain into their second year, you know, doing the things. The thing I loved about being a region advisor was helping get new clubs involved in Toastmasters, helping clubs that were struggling start doing better in Toastmasters, and looking back and seeing some of that happening. That's a personal legacy that stays with you and makes you feel like maybe you've made a difference. Maybe you've done something that's actually made a difference in people's lives. And for those of you of Toastmasters, think about when you joined Toastmasters and where you are now. What have you learned? What's the value? And has it been worth it? Yes. Has it been easy? Maybe not. Maybe it's been a challenge for you. Some of us, as somebody said, some of us join Toastmasters to learn how to speak. Some of us join Toastmasters to learn how to shut up because we speak too much. So it depends on what you're doing. And you take it from there. But again, you know, giving back is something that I've done a long time before I joined Toastmasters. It just gave me an outlet to say, I've learned something. Let me see if I can share it. That's the paying it forward. You know, I'm learning. The third thing I'd like to share with you is why I'm still here is I'm still learning. Like Michelangelo at 87 was quoted. And I actually got some stuff from the Vatican when we were there last year. He was quoted at 87, I am still learning. At 87, he'd already been famous as a sculptor, as an artist, as a poet, and as a designer, because he designed St. Peter's. And at 87, he was still learning. And at 88, he was still working on St. Peter's right up until he died. I'd like to be like that. And that's one of the things I love about Toastmasters is I'm learning new things now. I'm learning different things than when I came. When I came, I came because I wanted to learn how to speak. I somehow backed into leadership and learned a whole bunch of new things that weren't originally on my schedule. I guarantee you, I didn't come to Toastmasters to be a leader. I came to be a speaker. But the interesting thing, and I can say that to anybody who steps up to leadership, taking a leadership role is one of the best ways of learning how to be a better speaker, because you learn to communicate, you learn to persuade, you learn how to beg. I mean, you learn how to enjoin people to come help you. Stephanie knows what I'm talking about. Joanne is learning what I'm talking about. So does Kim, and so does April. Sometimes you have to be very persuasive to get people to do things, and you learn how to do that. That's a leadership trait. Coming alongside somebody and say, hey, could you help me with this? But also get a chance to speak to larger groups and to be able to hone your skills, to be able to do something that makes more sense. So just in all honesty, joining Toastmasters was one of the best things I've done in the last 30 years. I can recommend it to anybody who is not yet a Toastmaster. Lisa's mom, hint, hint, nudge, nudge, and a few other people on this call. If you have not yet joined Toastmasters, give some serious thought to it. One, it's a lot of fun. Two, you will find you will be so much more equipped to be able to share what you think, what you believe. You'll be able to persuade people to get along things. Maybe if you'd had this, you could have got Lisa to do a better job growing up. You could have maybe persuaded her as the mother. You know, it's never too late, by the way. It's never too late. And you can have a lot more fun because you get a chance to hang out with other people who are actually learning something, which is the best part of being involved in this organization. So as I was saying, the last 30 years have been amazing for me. Joining Toastmasters allowed me to travel the world. I've made it to 60 countries so far. And assuming that we get to start traveling again, I'll get the other 40 in before I die. But that's just my personal goal. But I want to continue giving back. And I want to tell everybody that thank you so much for inviting me to come and share just a few words with you tonight. So if you haven't joined Toastmasters yet, check it out.